Scene 2. Ilia. Luzmo was going up to Ilia's farm, gripping a bundle of flowers in his hand. He got to the house and knocked on the door. A tall woman opened the door. She had eyes the color of slate and wore a wimple. Her dress was a faded blue and her sleeves were pushed up to her elbows. She gave a strange smile. "Good morning, Luzmo," she said. One of her daughters was the same age as Luzmo, so when his mother had died, she had been the one to nurse him. Because of this, Luzmo seemed to look up to her as a sort of mother figure, despite her younger daughter's teasing. She did not much like it, though. While she was not as overtly rude as the village children, she found his odd habits somewhat off-putting, and tried to keep her distance. Luzmo, however, being a child and about as good at reading people as he was at reading words, had not picked up on the fact that she did not want him around. Luzmo held up the flowers, rocking on his heels, and, while he looked up, he did not look her in the eye. "I got your flowers, Bella Ilia," he said. He was smiling, but his voice sounded flat. He had tried Ilikisa and then Ilisija. She had rejected both and corrected him to Bella Ilia and the formal U. Bella was a somewhat colloquial form of the honorific for any untitled married woman. She took them. "Ah, that's lovely, thank you." Luzmo smiled. They stood there for a little bit, Luzmo rocking and chewing on one finger. "Well," Ilia said, "I think—" "Do you want to play a game with me?" Luzmo said. She squashed an annoyed look at the interruption. This was another thing that would happen. He would interrupt someone and not seem to realize that was rude. "No, Luzmo, I don't," she said. He frowned. "But why?" "Well, you see—" She paused, trying to think of a gentle way to put it. Then she remembered all the other times she had tried to put it gently, and what she was sure had slipped into her tone or expression. Luzmo had not realized that she did not like having him around. She sighed. "Luzmo," she said in the gentlest tone she could manage, "I don't think you should come by no more." Luzmo blinked. "What?" "I don't want you coming by," said Ilia. He blinked again, feeling tears sting his eyes. But I wanna." "Well, we don't always get what we want, do we?" He reached for her. But Ilia." She took a step back. "Bella Ilia," she said. He looked down and stood there for a second. But he had liked Ilia. He thought she was nice. He loved the friars, of course, but he wanted to love Ilia too. He felt different with her, and he liked it. "I think it's best you leave." Luzmo stood there for another second, then ran away crying. Ilia cursed the way she had handled it, but she did not try to run after him. Luzmo found a tree that he curled under, sobbing and rocking. He would much rather cry with Brother Agriado or Brother Diecos around him, but he did not want to move. Unfortunately, two boys managed to find them. One was about a year or two older than Luzmo, and the other was about a year younger. The older boy was a Soledo, with a thin frame. His hair was a blonde mess of curls, just barely kept under control by his hat, and his eyes were hazel. The younger boy was the only one of the boys who looked like he ate, with broader shoulders but a smaller stature, though not quite as short as Luzmo had been at that age. His hair was almost black, even darker than Luzmo's, and his eyes were green. "Why are you crying, Luzmo?" the older boy asked. "Because I ate you again," the younger said. "Go away," Luzmo said through his tears. "But I want to know why you're crying," said the older boy. "But I don't want to tell you," Luzmo said. The younger boy took his hat. Luzmo finally looked up, reaching for it. "Give it back!" The older boy took the hat and held it up where Luzmo could not reach. "Then tell us why you're crying." Luzmo stood, jumping and trying to reach his hat. The older boy stepped back, laughing. Frustrated, Luzmo cried harder, curling on the ground again. "Fieso! Izo!" It was a girl's voice, angry. The older boy, Fieso, stiffened at the sound of his real name. She always called him Fiesijo, unless she was very annoyed with him. The younger, Izo, winced. At least she had not used his full name. Fieso threw Luzmo's hat back at him, and the boys turned around to look at her, smiling innocently. "Yes, Caracica?" Fieso asked. The girl, Caracica, was 4 years older than Luzmo, and 2 years older than Fieso, about 11. Her hair, like most Soledo's, was white blonde, and her eyes were gray. "Stop bothering Luzmo," she said. Fieso scowled. "Just want to know why he's crying." "He's probably crying because you're bothering him," Caracica said. "Get back home, both of you! The boys sighed but went back to their farm. They were not brothers, but Fieso and his father worked on the same farm as Izo's family. Caracica sighed and sat next to Luzmo, rubbing his back. What's wrong, Luzmo? Though she was only 4 years older than him, she might as well have been an adult to Luzmo. Ilia was being mean, and then Fieso and Izo were being mean, Luzmo said through his tears. Oh, I'm sorry, she said. You mind telling me what she said? Luzmo just cried for a second, the words flashing in his head, then was finally able to get them out, the words broken by sobs. She said she didn't want me around her, he said. She sighed. My goodness, I'm sorry, she said. I'll talk to her. You want to go home? Luzmo nodded. He put his arms down and sat on his feet, then reached for his hat and put it back on. Holding her arm and still crying, he walked back to the friary with her. Caracica explained to the friars what had happened, and they all tried to talk to Ilia about it. It did not do much to help. Luzmo stopped talking to Ilia and clung to Caracica instead. Ilia did not like how close Caracica was acting with him, but, in true 11-year-old fashion, Caracica did not care.